Well, good morning and welcome to the beautiful Exmoor countryside. I'm at the Honda Adventure Centre taking part in their 2-day course. So during this video I just want to give you an idea of what you can do when you come to this centre and do this course. I'm also going to be riding an Africa Twin with Dunlop Raids. In fact, all of the bikes here with the exception of the CRF1100 are running on Trailmax Raids. So that's a nice little time for me. I can tell you how they perform on the loose stuff. I know what they're like on tarmac and I know what they're like on gravel, but we've got some different terrain here to deal with today. So yeah, we'll see how they go.
Hi, my name is Pat Jackson and I help run the Honda Adventure Centre with my team Flash and John. We're here on day one of a 2-day off-road course and it's just about 95% off-road. Most of our customers today are novice, first-timers or done just a little bit, so it should be quite interesting as the day unfolds. We're running a mixed fleet today. It's Africa Twin, Transalps and CL500. Conditions for day one are dry, with a few muddy patches along the way, and we'll just see how the day unfolds.
After registration and getting kitted up, I thought I'd grab a couple of my fellow course members to find out just why they had come along on this 2-day course.
I got an Africa Twin DCT last year, so this is just really a toe in the water for how to ride it properly. Come here, fall off on somebody else's bike, and then hopefully I won't fall off mine.
Perfect. My name's Keith. I haven't ridden for about 20 years, okay, and I just wanted to try and get confidence on a motorbike and actually at the same time learn a bit about off-road biking. So this is a great opportunity to experience the countryside. And also I hope my boss is not watching because I'm supposed to be working today.
Hi, I'm Mags. I'm here with my son. I ride a Honda CB500X. I've come on this course today because my son, bless his heart, bought me a Mother's Day ticket voucher for this experience. So I wasn't expecting it, so I was really excited to get it.
So we've done the briefing. We've just now got a 20-minute ride-ish to get to the off-road centre. And then the fun starts. You get to see some of the beautiful Exmoor countryside, and it looks like we're going to have an absolutely beautiful day for it as well. Given how much rain we've had recently, it's quite nice to be out riding in the sunshine. We're going past the pub that we stayed at last night, and we're staying there tonight. Really lovely pub this is, nice place. That's Simon, the owner. As I said at the start, this is the 2-day course. They do a 1-day sort of Exmoor exploration where they take you out on about 130-mile ride, mix of road, country lanes, a little bit of very simple off-road. The next option is to do the 2-day course, which again is set up for beginners, so if you've never ridden off-road you can come here and do this. And we've got a day of training, and then tomorrow we kind of put that into practice with some riding out in the countryside, and I'm promised it's going to be pretty spectacular. So I'm hoping that the weather holds and we get some lovely views. But anyway, I'll continue to make our way to the start point and I'll come back to you and let you know what's happening next. Once we arrived at the off-road location, the first thing the instructors got us to do was to get comfortable moving these bikes around. Now obviously we had a mixed bag of bikes, but all of these were relatively heavy with the exception of the CRF1100Ls, and the guys wanted to get us comfortable moving the bike around in tight situations because that was something that we were possibly going to have to do throughout the rest of the course. After this little exercise was completed, we moved further on into the off-road area to get to what was effectively our base camp, where they park the van up, which has refreshments, seating, snacks, and if you have to take bits and pieces with you, change of clothing and stuff, that van stays with you and you go backwards and forwards to that van throughout this session. From there we moved on to a simple exercise of negotiating this flat track around some cones, and this gave the instructors the opportunity to see what our bike control was like and our body position and our weight transfer without having any instruction. Then they could break us down into groups based on our ability, and then we could go off with the separate instructors and learn at a pace which was relevant to that particular group. To my surprise, I got placed into the more advanced group, but I think that's really because I've done a little bit of off-road training, as had the other guys here, and compared to the complete novices, that made perfect sense. In our first little training session in this area, Pat had us taking on some tighter turns on loose rutted ground, again concentrating on that slow control, getting our body position right. I was riding the DCT, and this was the first opportunity for me to try the DCT on some proper off-road terrain with some instruction from somebody that knows exactly how you should be using it. Once we'd mastered those slow turns, we headed back to the base camp to meet up with the other group and have a quick drink and a bite to eat, whilst getting a little bit of extra tuition from the instructors. After our little refreshment stop, Pat took us back up onto some of the higher ground where it's a little bit more open for us to practice some drills, one of which was actually foot controls in terms of the foot steering, but also just trying to change the way we ride on the trails to make things a little bit smoother. One exercise we had to practice was to independently take each hand off the handlebars and also swing one leg off of the peg onto the opposite side of the bike, just to get used to that feeling of where we need to be balancing our weight with our feet and how we can use that to steer rather than putting big inputs into the bars. And that also came in very handy when we were doing tight turns on uneven ground.
We've been riding this in second gear at about 25 miles an hour, 26 miles an hour, and he was saying if you can get up into fourth gear and then foot steer, and everything just seems to be a little bit smoother and there's less input on the bars. You're keeping a soft hand. And changes of direction can be done with weight on the pegs. And by Jove, he is correct. They know their onions, these guys.
We carried on riding the trails up here for a little bit longer, putting into practice the lessons we had learned, and we got some practical trail skills thrown in as well. Pat could have very easily opened that gate for us, but he said, well, here's an opportunity for you to actually go through the pedestrian area, and again it's that control of that bike and getting used to that weight, and by the end of the day we were doing this with ease. But it was soon time to head back to base camp to get ourselves sorted out and then head off for some lunch.
What an absolutely beautiful place this is. We're having a lot of fun, it's hard work. I realise how unfit I am, and it's warm today, it's a little bit muggy, so I'm getting a bit of a sweat on. But the instruction's been fantastic. The venue is great, the bikes are fantastic, and of course they're all running Trailmax Raids. As you know, I'm a big fan of these. I'm on the second set on my Africa Twin Adventure Sports, and I'm now getting to find out what they're like on the loose stuff on a variety of surfaces, and they have been absolutely fantastic. This afternoon we're going up over there, up that hill, somewhere over the top of that, which should be fun.
But before heading back for lunch, Pat decided to take us on some slightly more challenging terrain, again pushing us a little bit out of our comfort zone, but not doing anything that we hadn't already learned. And we had a combination of mud here, and this hill is actually much steeper than it looks on camera. And again, it's all about getting the control down there, getting your balance, using the brakes properly. And I certainly didn't think I would be riding an Africa Twin down there before I came on this course. We then had a go at doing this in the other direction, which was a little bit more difficult. Simon went up there like a rabbit, but it didn't all go exactly to plan. I hasten to add, that isn't my bike there. A much needed lunch was taken at a local pub about 10 minutes away, which gave people a chance to sit down and take on some calories.
Everybody's very quiet.
Yeah.
After lunch we came together as a group to go and do some trail riding, and the instructors took us up to pretty much the highest point in the region, where we had fantastic views across the Bristol Channel to Wales. Absolutely beautiful surroundings and a really lovely trail to ride us back down to finish off the day.
What a beautiful ride back.
But the day wasn't quite over for my group, as Pat decided to take us on a little quick loop to take in a little bit more technical terrain. And trust me, the video footage here doesn't do justice to the incline that we were riding. So that's day one done. The bikes have been tucked up to bed. We're all knackered. We're looking forward to getting back to the hotel, having a shower, and then going down for something to eat later on. Yeah, brilliant to take the bikes where I've taken that Africa Twin, and it's thanks to instructors like Pat over there, who's busy putting the bikes away. And I do have to mention where I stayed. I booked the Notley Arms Inn. It's one of the recommended locations to stay from the school, and it's actually where the instructors stay the night before and in between the 2 days of the course. Owned by Simon and Caroline, it is a beautiful pub with rooms, very welcoming, absolutely fantastic rooms. The food is really good, and it's such a laid back place to stay. It really is the place I would recommend if you're going to come down here and do this course. So I've just had an interesting chat with Simon about the All Saints Church, which is here kind of in the grounds just behind the pub. It's got a really interesting history. In 1583 the church was the venue for the marriage of Sir Francis Drake and his second wife Elizabeth Sydenham of nearby Coombe Sydenham, which incidentally is the home of the Honda Adventure Centre. Hi folks, it's day two, a little bit of a turn in the weather. It's a bit drizzly and murky and grey this morning, but it should ease off. We've come to a different location for a different sort of terrain, bit more gravelly, less rocky, bit of grass, bit loamy, so it should be good. The water's just dampened things off a little bit, so the dust has cut down. But yeah, all good, and I'm just grabbing some footage of the guys. It's a nice little place, this. We had a little explore of our new location with a few runs up and down the areas where we'll be training on. The aim was to get the speed up a little bit on normal trails like this, and we're also going to tackle some mud and some inclines and declines and just a little bit more different and more technical terrain. I spent time with my group and then dropped off to join the other group to see how they were getting on and to capture some of their adventures for this video. There were a few slow speed drops here and there, but everybody pulled together as a team to help everybody else out.
No, that's not going to go there. We need to push it up onto this bit up here.
Cheers.
Okay.
Thank you.
But everybody was progressing nicely. So before lunch, Pat decided it was time to go down and visit the bog and get ourselves a little bit muddy, and that also gave me an opportunity to see what the Dunlop raids were like in probably the wettest, well definitely the wettest conditions that I've ridden in them off-road.
Hang on, mate, hang on.
Instructor down.
That'll teach me, won't it? I was trying to roost you bastard.
Oh, God.
Once fully mudded up, we headed back to the same pub for the same lunch, and then it was time for the afternoon ride. For the last afternoon of the 2-day session, both groups came together and the instructors took us out for a ride on what they called the Adventure Road and the Old Mineral Line. The Old Mineral Line being the remnants of a railway line that came from the nearby iron ore works, which was built in the 1850s. Despite it being very narrow and in some places steep, it is still a road, and so there was a stern warning for drivers of larger vehicles not to go down it. It's a fantastic trail to ride, really good fun, and a very easy one to do on big adventure bikes, and they call it the Adventure Road because it's the sort of place that you're likely to be taking these bikes in the conditions that you're going to be riding, and it was suitable for everybody in the group. However, it was the place where I had a little bit of a moment, which resulted in something you'll see later on in the video. So you do still have to keep your wits about you, and I think this was just a case of maybe a lack of concentration with just half an hour to go left of the ride for the entire 2 days. This was the most innocuous of crashes, started by that world's tiniest root which just threw the front end off, lost traction. As I tried to correct it, it pulled me up against the dry stone wall on the right hand side, and unfortunately that wall grabbed my right foot and twisted it out around to the right.
I'll carry on recording. Cheers guys.
After a few minutes I was able to get back up to my feet. It wasn't particularly comfortable and something didn't quite feel right, but where we were it wasn't really very easy to get away from, so the only option really for me to keep the group from being held up was to ride back to the centre, and we were only say about half an hour, 20 minutes away.
We're not going like to another venue.
Right, okay.
Where it is just like, this is the hardest bit coming up here. The rest of it is just like a nice gravelly track.
Okay, well I should be okay. If I could do it sitting down, I'm not sure I can stand on it.
Yeah.
Just HSTC. I go on to 2 for this, just to get up there. Stay in the middle all the way up, okay?
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'll see you back there then. All right.
Perfect.
The rest of the ride was just as much fun, even though I could only sit down and wasn't able to stand up, but it's a hell of a route to do, and from this point here it led on up to the mineral line. Once out onto normal roads heading back to the centre, it decided to rain a little bit harder, but we still had a fantastic ride back, and when we got back to the centre I decided to grab a couple of my fellow course members to find out what they thought of their 2 days.
Yeah, bloody loved it. It was great. Great bunch of people. Instructors are really relaxed with you. There's no, you don't have to feel like you can keep up. They'll wait. Go at your own pace. Scenery and where we got to ride was fantastic. Yeah, really, really good. Highly recommend.
Good. And what did you think of the tyres? I'm going to ask you.
No, we had a chat about the tyres before. Yeah. Massively impressed. I've got the stock Carew Street on the Africa Twin. I'd be definitely looking at the Dunlops.
The question you had is we got to try them on wet tarmac.
We did. Well. Wet tarmac was my only concern with it's more of a 50-50 tyre, isn't it? Yeah. And they felt fine. They felt really good. So we were at the ABR recently and we saw the Dunlop guys there switching a lot of tyres out. We were surprised how many people were going for those tyres, but I can see why now. Word of mouth spread and they are looking good.
I was a complete novice, never done it before in my life. I was a little nervous this morning. But I have to say that the guys here, the instructors here, have been absolutely amazing. They have taken me off on my own so that I didn't hold the group up and to encourage my own self-confidence, and I couldn't fault them. I've had a great day and I've come away feeling positive and I've had a really good time.
So here we are, the end of day 2. Everybody made the course. Everybody, I think just about everybody, had maybe 1 or 2 little spills along the way, mainly due to common trait of not looking where they're going. You know, they should be looking where they're going, and then hopefully they'll be able to get where they're going. A lot of people have learned a lot of new technique, and more importantly, learnt the technique on how to ride a 230 kilo motorcycle off-road. And as you can see, conditions have turned round. It's wet and it's become slippery, and they've all got round what we put in front of them. So it's been a good 2 days. Everybody comes up and says cheerio at the end, you know, big smiles, and they're all going away in one piece. And to be fair, if everybody's learnt a new skill set that they can take away with them, whether they use it on road or off road, it's a bonus, isn't it? It's got to be a good thing.
So there we go, that's 2 days at the Honda Adventure Centre, and I've had an absolutely cracking time. The team here are fantastic, the location is great, it's a really varied terrain. We've been in 3 different sites and it's been fantastic. The training has been superb all the way through it. You couldn't wish for more from the guys. And it's been really good to be able to take the Africa Twin to places that I never thought I would, and just see how capable that bike is and how good those Dunlop Raids are as a 50-50. I've now tried them on every imaginable surface apart from snow and ice, and they are, I think, a really good true 50-50 tyre. Bit of a shame to have that spill right at the end, and I have damaged my ankle. It's quite badly swollen and is very uncomfortable, so I think I'm going to have to go and get that checked out. So definitely, if you are interested in learning some off-road skills, or you've just bought a Honda and you want to see what it can do, then definitely get in touch with these guys and get yourself booked onto a course, and I'll put a link in the description to it here. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, and until next time, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Well, this is not the way that I wanted to end this video. I'm in Minehead Community Hospital, where they've just told me I have fractured my ankle in 2 places, both interior and exterior. So I'm just waiting to have my leg put into plaster, which means there might not be any bike reviews for a little while on the channel. Thankfully, I've got a lot of videos to catch up on in terms of editing. Yeah, if anybody wants to sign my plaster, I'll let you know how you can do that. See you later. Bye.